Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Teams at 10. We're back for episode 4 in our series on how to take your team from surviving to thriving. And again, welcome back to those of you who have joined us before, and we're a very warm welcome to those of you. This is your first time, whether you're watching us live or you're on video later. And we'd like to introduce you to a couple of my beautiful team members. Firstly, Jennifer Laylor.
Good morning, everyone.
And Jennifer is our resident mental health and neuroscience expert and all about the practice of being a leader. And we've got the lovely Kirsty Boutel also with us. Hi, Kirsty.
Morning, everybody.
And Kirsty is our digital guru, so she's keeping us on track and be helping with our questions after. So this format of the session is like the others. So the first one is that we're going to share with you a concept, and today's concept is about becoming a more grateful leader and showing appreciation, which I know is something that we can all be doing more of as leaders and within our teams. And we're going to share with you, 2 applications. So Jennifer's going to take you through what that means for you as a leader, and then I'm going to jump in about what that means for you with your team and a little practice that you can implement with your teams. So again, really encourage you to ask your questions in the little chat box in the bottom of the toolbar, and please drop them in there as we go, and Kirsty will be shooting them to us at the end of the session at 10 past 10. So let's get started. Over to you, Jen. So I'm really looking forward to hearing a bit about the neuroscience and what we can do as a leader to be more grateful and show more appreciation. Over to you.
Thanks, Anna. And good morning again, everyone. So I found a great quote. The Roman philosopher Cicero said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues, but the parent of all others." And if we fast forward to our modern times, data from studies over the last 2 decades have consistently found that people who practice gratitude report fewer symptoms of illness, including depression and anxiety, more optimism and happiness, stronger relationships, more generous behavior, and increased social supports, which, if you were tuning in last week, you know is the key to resilience. A study by Harvard Medical School and the Wharton School of Business found that a grateful leader measurably yields more productive employees. And I think that's because expressed generosity begets reciprocal generosity. And then another study discovered that people were less likely, however, to express gratitude at work. And that represents a huge missed opportunity for leaders and teams. So the good news is gratitude can be cultivated. And one way to practice being a grateful leader is to practice speaking others' virtues. Speaking others' virtues is a phrase I learned from my leadership development mentor, Richard Strozzi Heckler, who's in the US. At the end of our leadership courses, we practice gratitude by pairing up with a partner to express our appreciation for them and to speak about what we'd observed about the virtues that they held. And sometimes we would speak others' virtues directly to them, and sometimes we would speak them to someone else who would then pass it on. It was a palpably powerful exercise. And, speaking others' virtues might feel a little strange at first, like anything that's new. But check out throughout your day whether you're missing out on what I call gratitude moments. And next time you say thank you, just observe the moment and stop and really truly feel the gratitude. Now, this could be at the supermarket checkout, or it could be on a Zoom call with a direct report. So check that out. And experiment too with receiving appreciation from others. How many times do we say when we receive thanks, it was nothing, or downplayed in some way, or blow off the thanks? So next time you're getting thanked for something, simply be present. Go back to episode 1, be present and centered. Receive the gratitude and see what happens. Why? Because practicing giving and receiving gratitude unleashes brain chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. And these are our well-being and happiness hormones. And get this, an active practice of gratitude increases neuron density in the brain and leads to higher emotional intelligence. Great thing to develop for leaders and teams. So one caveat, though, is that when we talk about gratitude, we are not talking about platitudes. Gratitude's not platitudes, people. We're all about authenticity. So committing to cultivating gratitude doesn't mean that you don't still have to have difficult conversations or engage in productive conflict. It's about the meaning that we make in those circumstances. So I might not be grateful to have a challenging conversation, but I could be grateful that my team member and I can strongly disagree and come through a tough spot together with mutual care and our dignity intact. I'm not grateful for COVID-19 and the hardships so many are facing globally, but I'm grateful for the people on the front line. I'm grateful for how our communities are meeting the crisis and the opportunity to learn through this time. So some researchers of the neuroscience of gratitude in organizational contexts refer to gratitude as the secret sauce that makes for exemplary culture and organizations that thrive. So leaders, choose someone this week whose virtues you can speak. Be that grateful leader who sees others' virtues and then brings them to light. And Anna has some great tips for how to explicitly do that. So over to you, Anna.
Thanks, Jennifer. And I've got to give a gold star to Sharon. I've seen a little question in the chat box, which was exactly about what I'm going to talk about next, which is around using a particular framework for appreciation. Just before I get to that point, thanks, Jennifer. I always find that research is so fascinating. I've got one more little bit of research that I want to add into you. And that is around, why we do show this appreciation to our teams. And, why is that, especially from a behavioral point of view? So Jennifer's talked to you about, speaking other people's virtues, those deeper qualities. And there is also power in speaking about people's behaviors, what do you see them doing that is good, so that they know what to repeat and do more of that the next time. And this research that I was referring to is called the Lasada principle. And it was some research done by a person called Marcel Lasada. And what they discovered in their research was that to really have feedback landing effectively, we need to do it in a ratio of 6:1. So 6 pieces of positive feedback, affirming feedback, as opposed to 1 constructive piece. And that's a story for another day. So we're happy to share with you how to give constructive feedback, but at the moment we're really focusing on appreciation. So a couple of things I want you to think about, in fact 3. The first one is, where are the opportunities? So just as Jennifer said, where are those gratitude moments? And I'd like to encourage you to really look for the gotcha moments. Gotcha caught you doing something good, okay? And I remember my son at Miles at school, they had to get these little orange cards when they were at primary school that were called gotcha cards, and they were given by the teachers when the kids were doing something good in the playground. So rather than caught you doing something bad, okay? So try and catch your team members doing something great. And when you see something, say something, okay? And it's hard when you're in that virtual situation, you might be seeing them a little bit less, but what are you noticing? Pay attention to those things, those times where you can be grateful for them. Number 2, think about how they would like to receive that feedback. Maybe you like getting praise in public, maybe they don't. Okay, maybe they're more introverted and they would appreciate more a quiet one-on-one chat with them. So really consider the person. What do you know about them? Maybe you've done DISC with us and you know a little bit about their styles. What do their styles tell you about how they would like to receive feedback? And make sure that you deliver the feedback in a way that is going to land with them. And how are you actually going to do that? How can you give really positive feedback that is going to stick? And as Sharon alluded to in the little chat box, we're going to use the STAR framework. Okay, and you might know this from behavioral interviewing. So situation, task, action, result, it makes up the word STAR. And we're going to use that to give positive feedback. So I'm going to use Kirsty as my little team member today to give Kirsty some feedback, and I'm going to use this STAR model for you. So situation or task is just about the context. So let me run through the example and then we can break it down. So Kirsty, as you know, we've been developing these crazy webinars, and what I have really appreciated about you is all your research around all the options and how we're actually going to do this. And for the very first one, what that meant is that we were ready to roll in 4 days, which I think is pretty incredible. And one of the additional things that I noticed is that you really take on the learnings really well, like you're really eager and you want to improve. And so you kind of absorb up all the feedback that you can get. And what that means for us as a team is that the team learns really fast and we're continually improving and getting better and better, which hopefully people are seeing today. So if you think about that little example that I just gave Kirsty, you know, the situation or the task, that's just the context, was about developing the webinar. The action was about researching options, and the result was that we were ready to go in 4 days. I actually added an additional action that she did, which was taking on the learnings, and an additional result, which was about the team learning really fast and continually improving. So STAR, that's a really simple methodology that you can use to help land positive feedback with your team members, and they can take that on board. So we're right on the wire of 10 minutes. I think we're going to pop over to Kirsty and get some questions.
Thank you, Anna, so much for that lovely feedback.
You're welcome.
I do have one question, and that is, how can I get better at gratitude?
I think there's lots of options. Jen's probably got a few up her sleeve, and I'll share a personal one. If you're going to get better at gratitude, it's a really simple habit that you can practice. And I was just going to show you my little journal. And I do gratitude every day. So you might not be able to see the detail, but every day I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. It might be a beautiful sunny day, or it might be that someone has come up with a really great idea that we can talk about next week at the next webinar. Doesn't matter, there's no right or wrong, but 3 things every morning, and that's a little practice that I have before I do anything. Get up, do my 3 gratitudes, and that kicks off my day. Jen, what else have you got for us?
Yeah, some people keep a gratitude journal similar to yours. Maybe they write a little more in it. Some people do it at the end of the day, reflecting back on the day. You know, we can practice gratitude in the moment for what's happening. We can reflect on gratitude for the past, or we can think optimistically about the future. So gratitude is something that can span all those sort of, you know, human timeframes that we live in. And I'm just thinking about, there was a study with 3 groups, one who was keeping a gratitude journal for, I think it was a month, one group that wasn't doing anything, and another group that was writing about the stuff that they didn't like. And at the end of it, the gratitude people were reporting all those good things I said at the beginning, you know, higher levels of happiness, better health, optimism, all these things. And 6 months later, that was still holding, whereas the others were either not experiencing anything new, or the group writing about the stressful stuff, or writing about the stuff that annoyed them, actually had higher levels of cortisol and stress hormones and so forth. So, so that's kind of interesting. Journals are one way. What we're talking about here with your team, speaking it out loud, expressing it, that's really key. Because a lot of people report that they feel gratitude, but very few report that they express it regularly. So being able to do that, even just speaking it out loud, is very powerful. A meditation practice is a way of being really present in the moment and not getting caught up in thoughts that are really distracting. That also leads to more gratitude. So there are different approaches for different people, and I think the key is figuring out what works for you. But as Anna and I both know, as behavioral change experts, make a little choice, make a choice that's something that you think you really can do, and then start with that. Take little steps, and those will build.
Great. That just prompted one more thought in my head, talking about a different way of doing it. And that is, you know, a lot of you will have family members or children, even partners, and it's something that you can also apply in your home life. And a really fun and easy way, when we talking about implementing changes, to start really small. One thing that you might consider doing at your evening meal together is just asking each member around the table one thing that they're grateful for. And a friend of mine implemented this practice with her family, and a different family member leads the practice each evening. And again, just a really great way to reflect on your day, be present in the moment, and, you know, tune your mindset into all the things that you're grateful for. So one for you to try at home with your kids and your partners, if you like.
And I might just tag team on that one. Also back to episode 1, we spoke about where we place our attention is what comes most alive. And I think Anna's story about her son's school, about catching kids being good, you know, schools seem to be implementing that. And that's that in action, that where we place our attention is what comes most alive. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
couple of little things that I just want to shout out from our chat box. Some great suggestions from our watchers, which is wonderful. Sharon's mentioned that you can buy a really cute little gratitude journal for about $5 from Kmart. So if you want a little journal to keep your notes in, you can jump on there and get that. And Jillian, one of our wonderful team members, has also talked about the James Clear Habit Journal. And that's the one that I'm using. And I think Jillian has it too. And James has a fabulous book, James Clear, called Atomic Habits. And it's a fantastic way of building up your gratitude practice, among many, many other things. So I think we're right on the wire. So I just wanted to thank you all very much for joining us today and creating richness in the conversation. And we look forward to joining you again next week for Teams at 10. Thanks everybody, and have a fabulous week.
Bye everyone. Take care.